they know we've been there. All right, first and foremost, if you have joined us since the last team meeting, so within the last month, I know I saw a couple of you out there, please stand up and introduce yourselves. Welcome in.
Super excited to be here.
You came prepared. Look at some of you decked out in your holiday attire. Mine's better, but yours is pretty good. I know. The things I wear, and even Kuba doesn't notice anymore. It's like, that's just Leah. We just roll with it. All right, anybody that I'm missing? All right, birthdays. My birthday babies. If you were born in November, come on up. You get a free cup of water at Starbucks.
Sure.
You're welcome. Oh, like just enough?
Wow.
Fabulous. Well, I mean, you got to count back like 40 weeks. Hold on a minute. That makes sense. Okay, if you haven't been hiding under a rock, you should be well aware of the fact that we are officially moving out of this place with its leaky ceiling on Saturday. We are gone. So with that, I am not taking any meetings. I will maybe take your calls at a discretionary type level for the next few days while we prepare for this move. So just be prepared. It's going to be super busy. We have this much time to get an entire operation fully functional by Monday morning. So we've got a lot going on. As of Monday, this is our new address. Okay, so please make sure that you have a note somewhere indicating that. It will go out in your newsletter on Friday, and it will also go out in the recap today. But it is 15150 West Park Place, Suite 315, Goodyear, Arizona, 85395. Not 85394. Somebody may or may not have had the wrong zip code. Your closing packages and check pickup starting Monday will be at the new location. I am strongly going to suggest if you have any closings starting Friday and going through next week that you do a Zelle wire or a direct pickup from the title company. We will do our best, but I have no way of knowing if things are going to be fully functioning until we actually get over there and try to see if things are fully functioning. So I would just get ahead of it and have alternative plans. You do know that Zelle, you have to register for it, but the wire and the direct pickup, those are just on the CDI addendum. So if you need to use that for the next couple of days, it's inside your SkySlope working docs for you. Our official grand opening, before everybody asks me about this, I chose the date. So we opened this office in 2014 in February. So I told my boss, let's do 2/6/26. That sounds like a lucky day. So that will be our official grand opening for all of you, your clients, your family, the general public. So just kind of keep that on your calendar. That's the official date of letting everybody in. Oh, wait, did I skip something? No, I'm good. Okay. A lot going on for the holiday party. The holiday party will be at the new office. Okay, it is adults only upstairs because I have an open bar with 2 bartenders coming. The downstairs part, however, I'd love for you to be able to bring your families with you. They have a ton of stuff going on in the square. So this is the opening of the rink, which is free 30-minute ice skating sessions. Whether you're a resident of Goodyear or not, you just go in and you get your 30-minute slot and you're set to go. They're also going to have their tacky sweater. They're not calling it a competition. It's more of a celebration. So feel free to wear whatever crazy sweaters you would also like to wear to the party upstairs. And they're going to have the tree lighting ceremony at 6 o'clock. There will be food trucks out there and vendors and tables and all sorts of stuff happening. So it's a very cool thing to take advantage of. But like I said, then come on upstairs, grab your charcuterie cup, take a photo, sign one of our bulbs. I have little ornaments that you're all going to sign in gold to hang on the tree this year. And then go ahead and head back downstairs to enjoy the fun. I need cookie bakers. Okay, we are the suppliers of dessert for the holiday party. And to make you want to do it, I have made it a competition. You are competing against me in a great cookie bake off. What? In the Great Cookie Bake Off, I need 4 dozen cookies from you. And then we'll have little voting cups to go in the background. That is the plan. So, volunteers. Oh, I love it. You're also good. Email me and tell me what kind of cookies you're going to do. Let me tell you what kind of cookies I'm going to do, and then you can decide how you want to do this. I'm going to do molasses cookies, cranberry white chocolate cookies. What else? Oh, eggnog frosted cookies.
No, come on.
It still won't be enough cookies. I
We'll
can't
be
just
there.
compete against myself. One of those is yours, and one of those I'll pretend is Denise's. I've got oatmeal cookies coming. Excellent. Thank you. Please just email me and say, yes, I'm going to participate.
4 dozen.
Excellent. Oh, cannoli cookies.
I have to ask my daughter.
We're up in the game here. Okay, we got cannoli cookies on deck. We've got Mexican wedding cookies on deck. Excellent. Snickerdoodles are a good one. What was that? You need to bring them to the party.
You said 4
Yeah.
dozen.
So 4 dozen, and just bring them with you to the party. Now the party starts at 5, so if you want a chance of winning, I'd suggest you're there by 5 with your cookies. What are you pointing at? Oh, there's an empty chair. Oh. I'm like, are there cookies down on the ground? What am I'm missing something here. Okay, finally, we are collecting food donations for Agua Fria Food Bank. Okay, they need to feed, what was it, 1,200 families for Christmas this year. So we are going to collect what we can. This is what they want: cranberry sauce, stuffing, instant potatoes, canned fruit, chicken broth or gravy, not in a jar. Okay, it all needs to be easily disposable. Canned green beans and canned corn. Okay, so this is your entry into the holiday party. Please bring a couple of things to donate. I'll have boxes out in front of the office. All right, I know it's been another rough year. Okay, we've had some ups and downs. I want to make sure that before you all make some major life changes and decisions in the next couple of months, that you are aware of what is available to you. I'm sure you've all received the email from We Serve Par, dues are due. Okay, so if you are not going to be a Realtor member next year, you have a couple of options. You can do it's not even MLS Choice anymore. We're going to call it MLS Choice because that's the easiest. This is the non-member MLS access option. Okay, this means you are no longer a Realtor, but you do have access to the MLS and you do have access to other standard documents. This is a $250 option as opposed to $565. Please be aware, very few agents so far have opted for this. You will have your work cut out for you if you try to present offers. They, I think, are finally getting to the point where they understand, okay, I'll just counter back on an AAR document, but this is all new forms. So just know you will have to learn those and be super familiar with them and utilize those in different systems if you go this route. So not to dissuade you, but I want to make sure that you are aware of what that actually entails. We had about 20 agents move to this last year. 75% of them moved back because it was too much of a hassle. The other option, for those of you who are like, I am done with this crap, I have absolutely had it, but I don't necessarily want to give up my license. Earlier this year, we opened up a referral only option. The only fee you pay is $99 a year because you cannot practice. You will not have access to the MLS. You cannot work with clients. But if you have people who still periodically call you sometimes and you want to be able to be legally paid, because if you don't have your license with a broker, you cannot be paid a referral fee. That's been an argument this past couple of weeks. Then this is potentially a good solution for you. So if you're kind of thinking about, hey, maybe I need to back out, maybe I need to get another full-time job, maybe I'm looking to semi-retire, $99 a year. So I just want you to be aware, don't let your license go. You've all worked hard for it. So there are other alternatives to help you keep it in place. If you do the $99 option, you'll still get my newsletter. You can still take the free CE classes because you will have to renew every 2 years. So there's definitely a benefit to those choices. If you have questions, of course, just reach out. I'm happy to chat with you on an individual basis. Okay. Capiche? up.
everybody doing? Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I'm with American Home Shield Home Warranty. My name is Jake. And I just want to introduce our first responders, 20% off. So it's 20% off for firefighters, police officers, 911 dispatchers, where they will receive 20% off any of our plans. And that, for instance, with our Shield Complete plan, that would equate to about $650, regular $815. So if you have anybody that's purchasing a house that is a first responder, they can utilize this discount and they can save a ton of money with American Home Shield Home Warranty. It's probably going to be the cheapest you're going to find for any home warranty company out there with this discount. Don't forget, we still have the 20% off military discount as well. So if you have anybody that is military, veteran, active duty, they can use the military discount that is also 20% off. So I just wanted to highlight that for you, that 20% off for first responders. So if you do have any and you're looking for a warranty, use that program. It's a great program. So just wanted to highlight that. And if you guys have any questions on that, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll hire him next week. Do you want me to Vanna White something?
No way.
I'll do this one.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Melissa with Rock Title. Coming to the end of the year and beginning of year, our desk calendars are out. So I have a few here if you really want some. I'm more at my office. It's right across the parking lot for the moment. And then we also have the day planners as well, which I also bought a few of those. But if you guys want more, I have them. And then of course, reach out with any questions or if you need any marketing help. And we also always have our 50% listing discount. So you put us in your listing, and then buyer and seller both get 50% off desk booking.
Thank you. I'm going to give a quick shout out to Melissa and Tony because both of you helped me out. I have a little townhome, a townhome, not a condo, that is under contract. And I had another lender that was like, no, it's a condo. It's not a condo. It's not a condo. She said, well, which means that we have to have spot approval and you can only have 2 FHA spot approvals in the community. No. So I reached out to Tony and said, who ultimately determines this? He said, title. I said, excellent, Melissa. we're on the same page here. It is a townhome. It is a PUD. Okay. And then I took the liberty of going through all of the public records for the entire community to find out what type of financing they had on every single unit. And after 30 FHA loans, I finally quit. And I said, you know what? Here's some addresses to double check, just to indicate we do in fact have a PUD townhome. This is not a condo. Close the fucking deal. And we're closing next week. So I want to thank them both for their help and their support, making sure I wasn't totally off my rocker. I mean, I am, but not in regards to that. Sure. Yeah, that way people can see and hear.
See and hear me. Good morning. This is Tony with Epic Lending, your neighborhood lender. Let's start off with this, the average market right now. So right now we're looking at 6.25 national average for interest rate fluctuating. It kind of changes. Right now it's really volatile. It's constantly changing right now. They're looking at a possible Fed rate cut. It's been baked in about 48% right now probability. So that's already been baked into the rate sheets, but we don't know. So some people are like, okay, 25, 50% in December, think they're going to do it. And another one says, well, maybe we'll have 2, one in January, one in December also. So I wouldn't hang my hat on it. I think rates are awesome compared to where we were before. Personally, I mean, I'm like, oh, this is good. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, And in fact, I helped a well-qualified conventional loan at 5.99 about a month ago. So that's something that I haven't seen in a long time. FHA, VA, obviously are under 6 or, depends on the credit score and that kind of thing. So I'm always available. So let me know if I can help you. Product of the day, I was searching around. I'm like, and it's funny because he brought up veterans and first responders, and we have a program where and this is just a short list: law enforcement, firefighters, medical professionals, 911 dispatchers, military members, teachers. So what we're doing is we're giving the tax service fee is waived at closing. That's $70. The typical credit report fee now is $195. And then we're also doing a $250 off on the appraisal fee, which is funded or at the end at close of escrow. That credit for them. So that's something that I found that's really good. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I spent yesterday with 5 baked turkeys. Took all day to bake 5. Convection ovens, who loves them? They're so
Who doesn't
fast.
even know what a convection oven is?
So enjoy yourself, okay? Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. On that note, in case you weren't aware and you just showed up for the team meeting, God love you. But there is a Friendsgiving afterwards. So we have, I don't even know how many pounds of food, stuffing and mashed potatoes and cranberry sauce and the turkey and ham and rolls and desserts, all in there, courtesy of your amazing vendors. So Tony, Jake, Melissa, please give them a huge round of applause and a thank you. And you'll notice how many of you there are. So let me explain how this works. This is not a, I'm at my grandma's house, I'm going to fill my plate 4 times situation. This is, I'm going to take a dainty little scoop of things so that there's enough for everybody to share. Okay, if I see somebody's plate piled this high, I will call you out. All right, our next book club, as we do traditionally every year, we're going to kick off the new year with the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. If you are participating in that, let me know, because you're not going to have to read the entire book. Some of this is not relevant to most of you. We're going to look at 3 of the models, not all 4. But that'll be at the new office on the 13th of January, and a great way to really hone in on what do I need to do to get my business in line and in order to have a more profitable year next year. All right, Queen of Hearts, what do we got? $80.
I have.
Oh, wait, you got 2? Oh, wait, hold on, we got another. We're up to not, well, no, 85. Oh, hold on. Hold on, I got more coming. I got 5, okay, excellent, hold on. My math isn't mathing, so I gotta.
Let's go.
Okay, I got 4.
Oh,
I'm hustling hard over here. Okay, hold on now. So then you get 10 and I got $30. 95. Where's my witnesses? I was pausing and correcting before you corrected. Well, no, that's not 100. I need another one. I need another 5.
One more.
$5 signature card.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go. Way underneath there. Our chronic winner. Okay. All right, we did not have a party here. Beautiful. Right where I need it. All right, pull a good one. Think it hard. Good job, you did it. Some holiday money for you, and then you get a chance to pull the queen. $700.
Oh gosh.
We share it. But you get your $100. So enjoy it. All right, this is coming up way to be comfortable for me. So I want to make sure that everybody is on the same page in understanding dual agency. You know I hate this. You know I have been on a crusade against this. However, it is not the Department of Real Estate who regulates this. It is actual statute. So in order to change the dual agency situation, we'll call it, we actually have to change law. That's a little more challenging than just chronically calling poor Mandy and Susan down at the department. If you represent both parties, you personally, you are a dual agent. If you represent one party and someone else within Realty One Group, any Realty One group, 3,000 agents, you are also a dual agent. There is no difference in these two categories. No difference. So when you call me and you tell me, well, but I represent the seller, that is true. You also represent the buyer equally with no disparity. I need to make sure everybody understands this because, you know, when I hear about it is when there's a problem. I'm like, well, why the hell did we do that? You can't do that. You're a dual agent. You can't tell them what you think they should offer. You can't tell them what they should ask for in terms of repairs. You can't tell them what they should counter with. And you definitely can't tell them if you know anything about the seller that's potentially detrimental to the situation. Could you do that if you were not a dual agent? Sure. Okay, so we're all on the same page. I see a lot of heads going, yes, yes, yes. And then you call me and I'm like, no, no, no. So a few things, because I think this is concerning, especially because of our size. And we're especially large with huge market share in targeted areas. Okay. But here is what I want you to know. Have these phrases at the ready so you can explain this, because you should be explaining this at the onset of the relationship, not when you're getting an offer. Not when you're writing an offer. That ship has sailed. This conversation needed to take place at the time you took the listing or at the time you're signing the buyer broker agreement. Because what would happen if they said, no, I won't allow dual agency? You can't show them Realty One Group homes, or you can't allow Realty One Group agents to show your home. That's why we have to make sure we know that in advance. All right, so in a dual agency situation, I will be a referee instead of a coach. That's probably the most easily understood analogy to provide them with, okay? This, I think, is more critical and where some agents don't understand either. I am still able to give you all the facts and figures you need to make an educated and informed decision. I just can't tell you what terms I think you should offer or request. Are you willing to forego your dream home or selling your home in exchange for my opinion? In essence, how valuable is my opinion to you? If I can educate you in such a way that you can make an informed opinion or decision on this, then what do you need me to give you my opinion for? I don't know if it's worthwhile or not. Heck, I could steer you in a completely wrong direction. So I want them to understand we can still let them know. We can even tell them probable outcomes based on a certain situation. We just can't tell them what we think they should do. That doesn't sound quite so scary. And we have 3,000 Realty One Group agents in Maricopa County. Are you willing to reduce, I need to space that, to reduce the potential buyer pool on your home in exchange for wanting to know which repairs I think you should agree to? Because honestly, that's what they're foregoing. So I'm being a little facetious here, but that's how I operate. So get on board.
That sounds exactly like
In these situations, sometimes when there's a repair, I've been offering a credit just to get it to stay together. That's still okay.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
helping both.
Oh my gosh,
Just wanna make sure.
absolutely. Yes. So you're saying you personally are contributing in essence to the absolutely. Yeah. If you can hold that deal together with a commissionectomy, you be my guest. Yeah. That's 100% you could do that.
Do
Yes.
a lot of those.
I know they're increasing in number. Okay, so we're all good with kind of what we're going to say and how we're going to say it. Kelly. I would hope so.
Yeah.
There you go.
Correct.
Those are not the same.
Those are not. So most of those are going to be, they might be Integrity if they're down south, or they might be Mountain Desert. If there is something after the words Realty One Group, it is not us. So you do not have dual agency with somebody from one of those other franchises because they're not under the same broker. So that's what designates dual agency. You're under the same designated broker. So you're all under Ron Copus. I know you don't even know who Ron Copus is. He likes it that way. But you're all under Ron Copus. So if you're going somewhere else and it's like Mimi Lundy or one of the others, that is a completely different brokerage. There is no dual agency. Different brokerage. Now, that being said, we are still going to treat you the same, and I'll tell you why. Because you're still working with me. So that's a great question. If it does come up, so Realty One Group AZ is our separate entity for the non-member MLS individuals. Okay. because we are still operating within the same system, and even though they're different designated brokers, you're all still reporting to me as your managing broker, we're going to consider that dual agency. It may or may not be, but let's err on the side of caution. I don't want to be on the other side of that table when we're nitpicking over, is this or is this not?
Yeah.
Anybody else? Yes.
I was in a CE class and they said that we could not, if we were in a dual agency situation, we could not provide closed comps to our people.
No, so closed comps are public information.
Right.
So you absolutely can provide all of that. Now, what you can't do is you
Can't do
can't
a
cherry
CMA.
pick. So you can even do a CMA, but you can't cherry pick them, meaning you don't start picking which comps you want to use based on where you think they should offer or what you think they should accept in essence. You just give them the comps.
Okay.
Yeah, yep, that's public information. That's no problem. What was that? Oh, yeah, yeah, absolutely. Kind of how that was broken down. Anybody else? Until next time. Kind of tied in, but there's an interesting caveat to that. So let's see. As a guest host for an open house, can you share information about the seller or say things like, this house is overpriced, or I think the seller will accept X dollars for this? Unless what? That's actually a great answer, but it's not the one I'm looking for. Yes, if they've given you written permission to share that information, of course you could do that. What's another one? You're all so good that you're not even thinking of this one. This only applies if what? Whose house are you holding open? A Realty One Group agent. What happens if you're holding one for somebody else? I was like, this is why. You can hold an open house open for somebody else. We won't allow them to do it for us. So AAR has come out multiple times and said, hey, here's the situation. If you hold one for an outside brokerage, you have to use your own signs and you have to have something clearly posted that indicates you do not represent the seller. Now, here's where the problem lies. This is why we won't allow you to let somebody else hold ours open. Because of this. So does the seller of that house actually understand you do not represent them and yet you are holding the house open for them? So could you do it? Yes. Why you would need to? With 3,000 agents, we have a ton of homes available to hold open. But if there was one maybe in a neighborhood that you were targeting and that other broker, not listing agent, broker said, yeah, you have permission to hold that open. Your own signs and some sort of little acknowledgement. It can just be a sign that you've posted that indicates you do not work for the listing brokerage and you do not represent the seller. Oh, did some of you learn something new today?
Yeah.
Do a spec for a builder.
I'm sorry?
You can do a spec.
Sure. Oh, yeah, you absolutely
Yes.
could. And that doesn't have any special requirements, honestly. That one's okay.
You don't have to get the additional signature on the broker for the.
Well, the broker would that new build would let you know. So I'm not worried about the broker in that case. It'll just come from whoever says yeah.
Got it, okay.
So if we wanted to go outside of Realty One Group open houses, if we called the listing agent, which is where we start, then we would also have to get permission and call the broker.
I would get permission in writing. Yeah, and an email would be sufficient in that case, but I would want it needs to be from the broker and it needs to be in writing. So the listing agent could get it from their broker. Just like CC you on an email saying, hey, is it okay?
Okay, cool.
But yeah, that's fine.
Would the listing and open house signs with broker branding on there not be enough to show the difference? Just have to have some other information.
That's definitely not enough. Think of it from an average consumer perspective. They're just following signs, right? They have no idea who you are or who you represent in that equation. That's why, yeah, we want that additional acknowledgement that no, we don't represent the seller here.
Would you need a sign writer?
You could just have like a little thing posted or a paper on the door.
Oh.
Yeah. Either of those is fine.
So with the permission to show that for each individual person, because you're not representing.
No. So in this situation, and this is where it starts to get wonky, and this is where people started to raise more questions when the time came. You are facilitating a showing service on behalf of the seller, but not representing the seller. You do not need people to come in and sign. However, the second that they start wanting you to work substantively on their behalf, that would be the point where you're like, okay, well, I need you to sign this first. So you can see why I'm not condoning this or suggesting go out and do this. Like I said, there's plenty of other opportunities within Realty One Group, but in that weird one-off situation, it's not illegal. It's not that it's not allowed. It's that there's a lot of other steps and considerations for it.
Does that mean then that if you do, like you were saying, some of the Realty One brokerages that are not part of ours, would you still have to do the same thing?
You would. Yeah. Yep. For all intents and purposes, they are totally different brokerages. So if it is one of the franchises, then yes, this would still apply. You'd have to have all of those other things in place. Wow, I didn't think that one was going to be as wild as that was. All right. HOA demand came in on 11/10 and noted under violations that the house had to be painted. When title sent the email to the agents, they asked for the title asked for the listing agent to notify them when the violation was addressed. The listing agent did not respond. When the buyer's agent reached out on 11/20 to verify the house had been painted, the listing agent said the seller did not agree to paint the house and it's now the buyer's responsibility. Is the listing agent right? How many of you say no, the listing agent is not right? How many of you say yes, the listing agent is right? The listing agent is right, guys.
Oh.
The listing agent is definitely right. How long from the moment that we received the HOA demand with violations, how many days did we have? How many days passed here? And the buyer didn't get anything in writing that the seller was going to paint the house? I can't wait to use my little sticker. For those of you who haven't seen it, I'm making this face. And now I have a sticker so I can respond to text messages with it. Yes, so this needed to be resolved via addendum within 5 days of the receipt of those documents. Otherwise, any violation is going to be the buyer's responsibility. So painting the house, yeah, that's a few grand. We probably want to make sure that we're prepared for that. One way to avoid this is using one of Leah's clauses in the initial offer. And in the additional terms, you would state, any HOA violations shall be remedied by the seller at least 3 days prior to close of escrow. I don't write these for myself. I write them because I've seen the problems. Gotcha.
Send it out to the listing agent, however, they don't sign it. What happens then? Like, how is the buyer protected?
They need to cancel. They either are going to assume the risk of whatever needs to be done, or they need to cancel the contract. But something has to be done within 5 days.
And what if the bidder has already been accepted?
So this is totally separate from the bidder, correct? So anything in the contract that has its own designated time period is separate from the bidder. So in this case, they would cancel on the notice disclosure form.
Yeah. But you can add it to the bidder if you haven't got it. Put in there that the seller will be responsible for all violations.
100%.
Okay.
But the better route is don't even give them that opportunity to say no at that point. Ask for it all up front. Like, I'm sorry, I inherently think that sellers should take care of HOA violations. They are in violation. So I'm like, so let's make sure that they're responsible for that by making them agree to it up front. Because by the time the Binzer rolls around, like, hostility is already brewing over Lord knows what. So if we get that addressed, and especially in this market right up front, it's one less thing we have to argue about later on. Yes, hold on, Mike.
One of the items that you would put in the additional comments on the contract.
Yep. And in case you need the verbiage, it is actually on Leah's contract clauses. Yeah.
Right, just because it's happened to me before with the title commitment and not with HOA demand, but just make sure that the title company is not just sending it to us, and if they are, that we are sending it to our clients.
Yeah, that's a great reminder. Make sure that ask title, whoever you're working with from an escrow officer, ask them to make sure that they include you on all correspondence so that we know when these timelines are happening. Some will only send it to the buyer, which means then you also have to notify the buyer. If you get anything from the title company or the HOA, because some HOAs don't send it to title, they send it directly to the buyer. I need you to tell me as soon as that happens so we can look through it and we can make sure you're covered. Yeah. Christina.
At some point or another, would you mind just sending like a spreadsheet of all your clauses?
This is how I know who reads my newsletters and who doesn't. It has probably been a minute. Yes, so actually starting in December, it will be in every single newsletter running until January, so that way you all have them. And as I've shared with you, if you're really good, and I'd recommend you to be, the ones that you think you would use pretty often, you can copy and paste into your SkySlope or your transaction desk templates as clauses. So all you have to do is say add add. You don't have to retype it every time. This one made me so sad. Are house photos in the MLS that show Christmas decorations violating fair housing laws?
Yeah.
Freaking humbug, all of you. No, absolutely not. I'm going to murder somebody over making this comment at a CE class. There is nothing about Christmas decorations that would violate. This is going way too far. I'm personally making a statement against this. Crosses, I don't care if you've got your menorah up, whatever you have going on, the photos, that is not, you have them in your house. So if somebody walks through your house, is that also a fair housing violation? No. This, I don't know what, this was from a CE class, what CE instructor decided that this is something that should happen, but absolutely not. And I will go down fighting on this one. Not a violation. But I figured that was highly apropos for this time of year. Okay, so this is actually an argument between me and another managing broker. So just so you know, sometimes you won't get the same response from both of us. Isn't that exciting? So probably trust the one who's ultimately going to have to go to arbitration with you. Must a buyer disclose to the seller that they are buying the property sight unseen? How many of you say yes, the buyer must disclose this to the seller? They're buying it sight unseen. Hands up if you say yes. Let's get a visual on this. Okay, hands up if you say no, that is not required to be disclosed. Okay, I'm going to test. The answer is no, in my opinion, which is right. But now I want somebody to tell me why. What specifically in the contract makes this untrue?
I think they have to disclose that because if they haven't seen it, it can become an issue later. And you as a seller would want to know that could be a problem versus the person that's already seen it.
So you're on the opposite side of this argument from me.
I know. I know that.
If this is a material concern to your seller, what should you as a listing agent do?
Ask the agent.
Ask the agent. Yeah, if this is a material concern to your seller. So for those of you who said it does not have to be disclosed, why? What is it in the contract that specifies this? Yep, there's something more to this though. There's an actual clause that pertains to this. Anybody? It's under the buyer warranty section. So the buyer warranty section indicate that they must disclose anything that would prevent them from being able to close escrow. Is this able? Willing? But the contract doesn't say they have to disclose willingness to close. It says that they have to disclose ability to close. So that would be something that's changed in their credit or something similar that's going to cause a problem. That is my argument for this. And no, that clause specifies ability to close. This is not ability. So if this is, and I agree that some of your sellers may want to know. Now, I will also tell you, I don't have any statistics to prove that purchases sight unseen are any more likely to fall out than those that are not. In fact, in many cases, I think it's the total opposite. Total opposite. We have had plenty of investors, especially, or individuals from other states buy sight unseen, and it closes without a hitch. Some of the easiest deals you'll see. So I don't think there's anything to support that this is a problem. But yeah, the other managing broker and I got into it about this because he thinks that this is material. Like, cool, if it's material, then you need to have your agent asking anybody who's shown it or submits an offer, did your buyers physically see the property? And then they can make a decision. I'd love to know. So if the answer is no, in this market, are you not going to accept an offer sight unseen? I mean, I don't care if your person's dead at this point. If we can somehow get money to the closing table, I don't care at all. Can you all see this? I'm not exactly because it's too flippin' small. This seller decided to write a story in the seller response section of the Binzer with a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't belong there. Okay, so the moral of this story is don't do this. Don't do this. All they had to do was reference a credit in lieu of repairs. They're trying to negotiate personal property as part of a furniture package that's separate from what they're actually offering, explaining how much things cost in the first place. We don't care about any of this. Please do not do this. Okay, separate bill of sale, separate bill of sale, completely separate by definition from all of your other contract documents, including your Binzer. That doesn't mean that you couldn't potentially negotiate, like, hey, in the seller's response, they could have said, seller agrees to $1,000 credit and will leave the following personal property items. That's okay. She's trying to negotiate a price on these and make that part of the Binzer. Our buyers didn't want to pay $5,500 for their junk. So how do they accept this without accepting the $5,500 payment requirement?
Was she trying to accept the contingent on it buying that?
Yeah. Yeah. So she's using the Binzer to renegotiate the terms of the original contract in a way that we didn't have a choice here. We either accept this in its entirety or we say no. So, I mean, we told her go back and remove all of that and don't play games. But ultimately, yeah, was she a broker? Yeah. And she was a broker.
Oh, wow.
I don't care if people have to tell you that they are a broker, they don't know what they're doing. Just understand that right away. If they have to tell you that, they don't know what they're doing. So yes, this is a good example of please don't ever do this.
Accept that contingent upon them buying all of her other crap. Did you add in there? We're willing to give the credit contingent upon a.
The credit's not contingent on that. She's trying to have them pay $5,500. They're giving $1,000 credit. What if the credit was contingent on them?
Give them the credit on the
Okay.
Binzer, contingent upon them buying her shit.
No.
Right?
The response can only be based on what the buyer asked for in the Binzer. So she can't try to create a new term in essence that way. So no, it can't be contingent upon them buying that. That would have to be done separately on an addendum or on a bill of sale.
So how do you
You don't. That's why we call them separate bill of sale. If she wanted that, that needed to be negotiated in the original contract, not at the Binzer time.
Yeah, that could have happened.
And included in.
It could have happened is they negotiated down and then they asked for a bunch of stuff. And so she's not willing to do it, period. She's not gonna do it
Then that's the response.
unless they buy her shit.
That's blackmail.
Buyers say this, sellers say this.
No, then the response is no. So the response on the Binzer would be no, and then she could send over an addendum that says, hey, or this is probably a conversation because it has to be two different documents at this point. No, she can't, in essence, say, hey, I will only do all of these if the buyer does this. That at the point in the Binzer, it's the seller's response. It's not a renegotiation on behalf of the seller to the buyer. So it would have to be a phone call probably at this point that says, hey, we'll agree to this, but first you send us over a bill of sale that indicates that you're willing to buy these items for the $5,500, and then we'll agree.
Or they can simply say, well, we'll give you whatever, $1,000 close of escrow credit, right? Put that on, just say no on this document, put that on the addendum. We'll give you the credit that you're buying this furniture for.
Correct. So that's the missing link, that it'll have to be two documents. Not using the Binzer for that purpose, it would have to be a modification to the contract via addendum.
Even if that was okay with the buyer, you would still say, rewrite it, right? Or no?
I mean, if it's okay with it, this wasn't okay with the buyer. If the buyer was okay with it, I'd probably be like, just roll with it. Just roll with it. Like, let's not make this any more complicated than it needs to be. We don't handle the negotiation of personal property. We do, but we're not supposed to. So in a case like that, if everybody's on the same page, yeah. I would prefer that we handle them separately, still in that situation, but we'd accept it. Anybody else? I don't know what you all have going on in this market. I have heard so many stories. These are all from the last 2 weeks. Oh my gosh. One of our listings had a squatter camp set up in the backyard. Police were involved, neighbors were involved. It was a whole thing. Apparently it was Portland. That was number one. Not even the weirdest thing yet, guys. 2 weeks. This has all happened in 2 weeks. Second one. Somebody stole a hot tub from a backyard. How? Like, what? I'm like, okay, is there an alley? Is there an RV gate? Even then, like this takes some planning. I still cannot for the and nobody cares. Nobody cares, by the way. It wasn't conveying in the contract. The seller's like, I'm not even filing a police report because I don't want to deal with it. Buyer's like, oh, we don't care. We're gonna close escrow anyway. No, no, this was a legit 6 to 8 person hot tub. No. Water, electricity, moving. I'm like, usually I see cranes move that. Did somebody literally get a crane to steal somebody else's hot tub?
The neighbors, the neighbors.
That's what we're not entirely sure about. There might be. So what do you do? But still, you and 20 of your friends go and pick up a hot tub and load it in the back of a truck? If this was a teenage prank, I want to know those teenagers because they're going places in this world.
Sofas, moving line to other locations.
This was not a neighborhood that warranted security videos.
Well, there you go.
Oh, we had that during the heydays. Like, oh yeah, we had people that were sticking signs out. Quick funny story for those of you who weren't around in like 2007 to 2012. People were literally stealing front yards. This is very reminiscent of that. Maybe a little more wild just because of the size and the effort that this would take. They were scooping up rocks and digging up plants and just taking them. We had people that were so pissed off at the banks for foreclosing on them. They would have signs posted around the neighborhood, come and take it. People were taking baseboards, cabinets, countertops, toilets. Yep. Yep. Let's hope we never go through that again. All right, so the last one, it probably wasn't as funny for the agent, but I was dying as she was telling me the story. Model home, and there is a man in there masturbating. She walks, oh wait, it gets better. She walks in, and he's just doing his own thing, lying on the middle of the floor for anyone to see, phone in one hand, junk in the other, and she's filed a police report. She's in with the sales rep for the builder, and the sales rep tells her, based on the trauma that you've experienced, we're going to give your buyers a really good deal. So, if you want to know how to negotiate with builders or how to get just that little extra special something for incentives, and in case you weren't aware, there are different levels of this type of felony, and it's dependent on when they asked her, could you see genitalia? So if you wanted to know what the breaking point is, that is it. And she could. All right. Do any of you even know that there was a revision that NAR sent out? Okay. I saw on the forum that somebody very helpfully had asked ChatGPT to break down the 18 points. And I am extremely concerned at what ChatGPT came up with for the final point, and ultimately what has now been disseminated and everybody is thinking it is legit. And what ChatGPT said, which by the way, this is not any sort of rule, regulation, update. This is hey, NAR says we're going to back off and we're going to let the local associations and MLSs start handling their own problems. Okay, we're going to let them enforce their own rules. We're not going to have this umbrella policy related to MLS policies anymore. That's what this basis is. Okay, so nothing has changed. But here's what ChatGPT said. Compensation disclosure formats, okay, Article 16 of this. MLSs can now decide how or whether to display buyer-broker compensation. This is what he said. This is what ChatGPT and what has been shared and what everybody is liking and thinking is true. It does not say this. It does not say this. And I don't know how we could possibly do anything like this because NAR's not the only one who signed that settlement. All of our brokerages and all of the MLSs that were participating signed the settlement as well. So we can't circumvent that based on some updated policies. So now this has become the word of God on the forum, and it is so untrue. And I want to make sure you all know that this is not true. Item 18 refers to disciplinary actions for MLS violations. How it misconstrued this to buyer broker compensation is beyond me, but it's talking about how, in essence, the MLS can decide who gets fined and when, and the progression of those fines based on violations contained therein. So please, don't trust the forum unless you've chatted with me first. And don't trust ChatGPT because this is a prime example of it got it really wrong. And now I don't even know how many likes and loves were on that comment, which means all of these agents think that this is going to be going away. And it's just not. What I do anticipate is that we will see in the new year some changes coming from Armless. So Armless will notify all of us for changes that they are electing to adopt. And then as an Armless subscriber, you'll get that information. I have a feeling most of you weren't even aware that this was a thing, but I want to make sure that you're aware now because you're probably going to hear about it. I thought this was perfect for the end of the year. Don't worry, realtors, 2025 is almost over and we're finally in the home stretch. And there's your home stretch. All right, I'm not going to keep you. Go get your little dainty dishes with your Friendsgiving food and enjoy the rest of your day. Absolutely. Bye, everybody at home.
We sent the addendum and the buyer signed it last night.